Hey Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Heather. I'm an intuitive artist, author, animal communicator, energy healer for pets and people, coach, psychic, medium, channeler, and I'm on a mission to empower and embolden others to connect with their divine radiant light. One of the ways I do that is pulling through channeled messages from my team of guides who are a collection of spirit, multidimensional, and angelic beings. Today they wanted to talk about fear. So typically I get a little bit of like a bulletin or an advance notice about the topic, but I don't get the direct details of everything that's going to come through. I also don't always remember what comes through in a channeled state, but my feeling is that on an individual level and in the collective, as we are starting to see more and more things that are falling apart, seemingly, the disassembly of what we have known for many, many, many years as the way that our institutions work across the board, different sectors, things are changing swiftly, rapidly. And for a lot of us, even though we are grown-ass adults, that can be a little bit scary. So fear comes into the equation in how we navigate our reality. And the sense I get from the team is that it's actually something we can use rather than something we can kind of hope that we never encounter or worry that we're not going to be able to transcend. It's actually a pretty important ingredient in this human soup that we're in right now. So I want to share their channeled message with you, and I'll come back at the end and we'll chat about it a little bit. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Hello, bright and beautiful beings. We thank you for your time and attention in this beautiful present moment, through which we will communicate with you on the topic of fear. Fear is not new to the human experience, and fear is not unique to the human experience. Many different species on your planet face fear. Many different species on other planets face fear. So why would we bring this up in the current moment? Fear in the current moment is in collaboration with, in conjunction with, in cooperation with, and deeply tied to the energies that are prevailing in the collective landscape of your planet at this time. And as those energies and frequencies change, some of you may say, rise in frequency, increase in frequency, ascend in frequency. For now, we will just say they are changing. They are in a constant state of flow or flux. As those energies change, so does the way in which you experience fear. And we understand that fear, for many of you, is not a preferred emotion to hold. It leaves almost a specific residue in your body. And your bodies are designed for that purpose, to allow the chemistry of fear to motivate you, to perhaps run away from something, to face something, to fight something. You may have heard the abbreviation of fear as forget everything and run, or forget everything and rise, depending on your perspective. We would introduce a new, perhaps, way for you to consider this, and we ask you to take this on board and feel if it resonates with you. And the way we would break down the word fear is follow the energy and realize. So if you debunk the myth that fear is bad and fear is non-preferred and fear should be avoided at all costs and that it is the battle between fear and love, that's a very polarized way of thinking. You can use fear as a motivator. Use fear as an element in your human experience. You can leverage your fear. Now, that doesn't mean you ignore the fact that it causes certain, as we said, energetic residue in your body. But that's a topic for further discussion in how it affects you biologically. We would look more at the use of fear as making a decision or taking an action. For many of you, sit on pause and wait until there is no fear and then take action, as if you are at one of your stoplights in a traffic situation. Oh, I can't go because there's a red light. We would say the red light is giving you an opportunity to look around, notice other things in your environment, pick up additional clues, become more educated about what is around you before you proceed. And in the same way, fear can serve that purpose. So when we break down fear to say, follow the energy and realize, we would say when you feel that first ripple of fear, that first spike in your biochemistry that lets you know, I don't necessarily feel safe with this idea, with this feeling, with this person, with this situation. Allow that to put before you a mirror. If we use the car analogy, you have many mirrors in your automobiles that give you different perspectives and ability to see things in a broader sense. Fear is the same. So you feel the feeling of fear and you say, I need to look in the mirror for something. And that's not to say I need to blame myself because I look in the mirror, but you're looking in the mirror to see, I'm following the energy. Where does that first inkling, that first ripple, that first spike of fear, where does that come from? Where is its root? Do I feel unprepared for something? Do I feel not confident for something? Do I feel unsafe? Do I feel threatened? Do I just feel uncertain? Try to become a little more clear on what aspect of fear. For many of you, use it just as a broad paintbrush, when really it can be a little more fine-tuned than that. So what is the origin of your fear? And once you've determined that, in our example, let's just say you have the fear of taking on a new opportunity because you feel unworthy. Great. Unworthy is really what is propping up the fear. So now we go one step further in our exploration where we are following the energy. We went from fear. We saw that it is actually the front for feeling unworthy. And so now we want to explore unworthiness. And we would ask you to consider within yourself, when was the first time in my human experience of this lifetime that I felt unworthy? And if you can find that for yourself, and we don't want you to pile on, as you would say, oh, I have felt unworthy so many times in my life. Just try to find the first. Okay. It was maybe in elementary school when I was asked to do something special by one of my teachers. And maybe feeling chosen to do something gave you a sense of feeling unworthy. And from that scenario, you also realized that when you were chosen, maybe you also got picked on by classmates, by friends, and it allowed you to stand out in a way that was uncomfortable for you. So your body at that point mapped out, I will feel safer if I just put on the brakes. If I have that red light in this situation, then I don't have to be picked on. But our body and our energy follows the path of least resistance. So when we then find a similar situation which has a somewhat similar taste or somewhat similar resonance, our body says, oh, that's that thing from the 7th grade or elementary school where I was made to feel unworthy and I didn't like it because it made me stand out. Therefore, every time I feel unworthy, I'm just going to stop. That's a beautiful exploration you are doing when you follow the energy, because now you can say, I found the source of it. I found the root. I am not in elementary school anymore. I have more tools at my disposal. I can overcome this unworthiness. I can walk myself through it. I do not need to stop here. You then see it, if we look at follow the energy and realize, you realize what the source is, you realize how it is holding you back, and you see with your real eyes what the actual situation is. Follow the energy and realize, feel the fear, see it as a reflection. Imagine yourself going through the timeline of your life. When did this first occur? Some of you may also be able to ask yourselves the question honestly, who put that there? If you reckon back to a time when perhaps you had a different aspect of unworthiness in the example we're using, maybe it is because someone told you you were. So when you say, who put that there? You can say, I'm tossing that right back. That is not mine. I do not need to carry that anymore. It doesn't serve me anymore. I learned the lesson from it. I can release it. Therefore, I need not fear. I need not let fear stop me, and I can progress. Follow the energy and realize with your real eyes you are seeing things through those mirrors and images and reflections that allow you to have a more educated, broader view of what you are walking through. Thank you for spending time with us today. Be blessed, dear ones. So what did you think of that information? I love that. This is one of those, I don't always remember what comes through in the channeling. And so I watch these videos back as well. And this is one, as I'm coming out of it just now, that I'm like, I really want to remember that, because that is such a handy technique to use. And I'm sure it's not incredibly unique. My team explains it in the way that they do. And I know others have tackled that fear aspect of using it as a motivator, using it as a catalyst to move yourself forward and not letting it stand in your way. And I know from personal experience, you can have the most amazing opportunity come in front of you, and you can still be absolutely terrified of it. It is walking through that fear. There's something alchemical about that journey for yourself that allows that opportunity for you to really match that opportunity. So it's not like we clear the decks and we only pursue those things that don't trigger that fear response. It's that we understand what the fear response is, that it's almost like a little gas in the tank. You can use it to power through. I don't know where all the car metaphors are coming from today, but I just wanted to recap a little of what the team said, that you feel the sense of fear. That's going to happen. You imagine, and I even kind of see that very visually. It's like you imagine walking into a room that's like a hall of mirrors, and you're looking for the different reflections of yourself. Where did that fear come up? Some of you may even find it helpful to kind of itemize. Okay, let me look at my life from age 0 to 10. Fear, general childhood stuff. Okay, that's good. 10 to 15. Oh, the awkward teenage years. That's maybe where this first originated. And then you chase that down a little bit more. You look a little closer in the mirror. If you start with like a far away mirror, now you're bringing it a little closer. Not to dredge things up, to go through them again, but to dredge them up and say, I see you. I see where you are. It's time for you to go. I don't need you here anymore. And then if you need to, ask yourself, who put that there? What part of the programming that we all go through, and I don't mean from nefarious evil forces, I mean all around us. We're programmed with the families we enter, the friend groups we enter, the jobs we take. There are certain structures and belief systems that we kind of wear sometimes. We don't necessarily choose them. They're all around us. So who put that thought there? Who first told me I wasn't good enough? Who first told me I shouldn't shine my light so brightly? Whatever it is. And then if you can, I would say from my perspective as a coach and healer, if you can then in that moment, if you identify who put that there, and I'll give an example. I had a teacher in, it's funny, 7th grade, I think was the example that the team used, but I think it was around 7th grade where I struggled with fractions. I just didn't understand math. Why do we have to math? I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense. And the teacher said, like, I don't know if it was a report card or on a test or if she said it to me directly. I don't remember that specifically, but I remember it was basically, Heather is not good at fractions. And in that moment, it's like everything unraveled for me. Like, oh, okay, you said that about me. That's what I now believe. programming. And then that informed how I did a lot of things like in my academic career. In high school and the choices I made, I had that in the back of my mind. I'm not going to be very good at this. I shouldn't do calculus because I'm sure I won't understand it. So that's a whole separate conversation about being mindful of what you say to one another, but also to kids. But if you can then in that moment say, who put that there? And you identify who that is, forgive yourself for carrying it this long and forgive that person for saying it, because we're all human. That teacher was human as well. I'm sure she didn't intend for it to stick with me for years and years and years. It was just her observation working with a lot of different students. So the other thing you can do that is a little life hack, you get to that point, you say, that's where I first encountered it. I'm going to dismantle it. I'm going to sweep it aside. If that doesn't feel like it's working for you, your mind is still kind of churning. Oh, but I still have that unworthiness. I'm still not supposed to shine so brightly or whatever it is. You can go a little further and say, okay, logical mind, what evidence do you have to support the opposite? So if you feel unworthy, what evidence can you show me from my lifetime where I have been worthy of something? And allow kind of the counter story to come to you so that you can say, yeah, this fear really is, there's nothing to it. It's untethered. It's just there in my way to slow me down and make me recognize some things. Follow energy and realize with your real eyes, see things clearly and work through fear and use it as the spark that allows you to then move forward. I hope you found this helpful. I'll see you next time. Bye.